Wave hello to everybody. Well, let me start the countdown clock here. This is new. You like it?
Sounds good.
One more. One more. Come on. Okay, I think we're ready. You can dance with me.
So you wanna be
So you want to be
a
cool kid
hanging with the insect,
hanging with the inset, looking real cool and fine, casting your net.
So you wanna be
Wait for the drums. Bop, 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 bop. Okay, those are my lyrics, and thank you to my friend in Paris, Serge Hoffman, who created the music and sings the lyrics. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here with my newest cool dude. His name is James P. Porfido. You might hear that during the show. James, how are you
I'm
today?
great, Bonnie. Thank you so much for having me on. I
Well, I'm
appreciate it.
delighted. We're going to play, we're going to have fun. And I met you recently at a National Publicity Summit, and you came on my Read My Lips Cool Conversations with Creative show. My name on Mondays. I wear something different too, is akaRadioRed. And I said, James, you may not know it, but you are a cool dude. Did you
I
like
didn't
that?
know that actually.
I think we had to go back and forth about 22 emails for me to convince you. So I would like to introduce you in the appropriate way for the show, and I hope you're ready. Is your seatbelt on, James?
I
You
am
good?
ready.
Okay, I hope you're ready. Here we go. You may know us well, Bonnie D and attorney James P. Porfido, Porfido, too. Seasoned in life, we love what we do. From social channels, virtual embrace, we love sharing insights in our special place. Now, here on We Dish, we're here to play, lightening up life in our uniquely fresh way. Welcoming James P., a truly cool dude. He doesn't know it yet, but he is. Here's my rhyming intro. James will add more after with attitude. Here we go. In Dover, New Jersey, where family ran deep, James had three sisters, two brothers, and memories to keep. Next to his grands from Italy, they'd stay, a real life bunch, blended their unique way. His dad fought in the war. His mom broke through glass, managing teams with leadership class. At East Dover School, James played every game. Then Sacred Heart called, and sports continued all the same. At Morris Catholic, James hit his stride with books and football and honor as his guide. From washing dishes to grocery tags, he earned every win, but no need for brags. Seton Hall gave James' passion a name. Political science was his chosen frame. With law in his future and justice his song, James knew where his purpose would belong. Bridgeport law shaped his legal fire, with Judge Clarkson Fisher to help him aspire. And James's uncle who practiced gave James the spark to chase truth and fairness through lightness and dark. From clerk to prosecutor, how am I doing so far? Good?
Doing unbelievable. This is
Oh, this is
incredible.
this is your life story. From clerk to prosecutor, his mission ran wide, fighting for victims with grit in his stride. A case changed the law and hearts across the state. Then James carried the torch to educate. Don't drink and drive. Let tragedy flee. 70,000 students heard his plea. Then came defense with the scales askew. James stood by the accused, as strong voices do. For decades, he tried cases making the news, as legal TV shared his bold courtroom views. In 1995, the court gave his nod, certified trial attorney by law, and there James trod. He recently closed his firm, but his mission lives on with podcasts, with radio, and true, freshly drawn truth. I messed that up. With podcast, radio, and truth freshly drawn. He wrote of unequal justice. That's his book. Examples raw and real. Still fighting for balance with eloquent zeal. With his wife Lynn and son Cole, James's heart finds its rest in travel, cuisine, and running. He does his best. 13 marathons with the 14th in sight. Marine Corps marathon awaits with DC in flight. James P. is a cool dude with purpose, compassion, and style. He's walked justice's road every hard and honest mile. With stories, with insight and laughter to share, James dishes it real with a heart that plays fair. What'd you think?
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
That's your story. Let
Amazing.
me let me finish it. And we're here on We Dish, chatting on Life's Score, talking about culture, music, food, and oh, so much more. Join us live or on demand, day or night. We won't be here at night. That's why they invented on demand. And enjoy our dishing with shared delight. Meet us here for real in our live streaming glow. Your comments are welcome. Just play nice. We know who you are, you know. We Dish, two saucy dame and cool dude too, Bonnie D and James P, dishing on life's fun, pour vous, a little French. So now, what'd you think?
Wow. 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 That's all I can say. That was really, really well thought out and so articulately put together. It was amazing.
I'm
Really.
glad. I'm
Thank
glad.
you
Well,
so
that's
much.
why
That was
you're
quite a,
welcome. My pleasure. That's why I asked you to send me your chronological everything life story, origin story. And
I
now
was
you under.
wondering why all that detail was needed. And there
There
it
you
is.
go. There you go. There you go. So I'm so happy. So listen, James, did I miss anything important? I'm sorry I garbled the name of your book,
No,
Unequal Justice.
I
Anything
think
else you want to talk about?
you covered so much. I mean, the jobs that, I did through high school and college. I mean, I think those are the school of hard knocks. That's where you really, take your lumps and you learn, and the sacrifices that you make to get to where you are. And really, that's what life is about, quite frankly.
What was it like being on legal TV and talking about cases and being able to say what was in your heart, to say your values? What was it, just briefly, what was that like?
Well, I mean, it really in the time that I was doing it and still do it, but it's very different today. It's not like you have to be, picked up and transported to a location and be on air and on the set, and have makeup and all that done. So it's very different today. Um, but I certainly enjoyed it, and I talked about a lot of high profile cases that everybody recognizes, like Scott Peterson and O.J. Simpson, Michael Jackson, Robert Blake, Phil Spector. These were cases that were like in the news, and they were, headline news. And I had the opportunity to give legal opinions on them. And it was interesting. I really enjoyed doing that. I thought that was a good sideline to the actual practice of law. Being on TV was very different than being in a courtroom.
Being a go-to commentator, being top of mind. Did you feel like that was one of the pinnacles of your success? I'm not trying to belittle it, but did you feel like I have arrived because people can call me and they value what I have to say? What did that feel like?
Well, it felt really good because honestly, you distinguish yourself among your peers and your colleagues as having gotten some high degree of success or level of success, or at least recognition. And clearly, you were in the minority by being on television. It wasn't like every attorney was on TV giving opinions. So, yeah, I did feel very good about that. And it was at a good point in my career where I was, developing my practice and building up my practice. So it came at the right time for sure.
Good. I'm glad. And you and I were speaking before we started the live stream today that it's harder and harder to get heard in the verse, the sphere of publicity today, of
Most
media
definitely.
today. It's
Yeah.
it's it's crowded and it's noisy. And that's why I do the Cold Dude show because I get to spend some special time with you. When you were on my Read My Lips show, you y- something about you, first of all, your glasses. I think you had a bunch of different you wear the most fabulous glasses, James. And I think I asked you to change your glasses two or three times during this show because they were so gorgeous. And you showed up with beautiful glasses today. But I said to you, I think you're a cool dude. And I don't think you were convinced, but today you're going to be convinced. See,
Oh,
there you
well, thank you.
so let's go on to the part of the show where I'd like to know about your music, your favorite music, music that has accompanied you on your journey, as people like to say, on your path. Songs that mean something to you, songs that were just there at key points in your life. Just unload a couple songs on us and I'll give you some of mine. So go ahead.
Sure, sure. Well, one that would have to be at the top because I'm a big Frank Sinatra fan would be My Way.
Oh,
It's just it's like a ballad that's an anthem to being, some success and doing it the way you think is best. The words to it are really resonate. And
We
It's a
all love
song
that
that was
song.
always something that I listened to it as a kid. My parents were
Yeah.
big Frank Sinatra fans as well, and that's where I
Yeah.
developed my love of that music. But that's certainly at the top of my list. And then, there's other songs that you might not think of, like "Man in the Mirror," Michael Jackson. Where you're looking at the man in the mirror. That's you. You have the ability to change the world, with your views and your thoughts and in your actions. So I thought that was a really instrumental type of a song that
Mm,
resonated with me on so many levels. And then, of course, he was, I talked about his legal cases, but
yeah.
then when he died, it was such a tragedy. Like, it was like a piece of you died because
Yeah.
you grew up with that music and that
Yep.
family, and
Yep.
you never and certain things are invincible. Similar to like Frank Sinatra when he died, it was like
Yeah.
he would never die. Like his
No,
music will never die for sure.
never, never.
And same
Really
with
good
Michael
points.
Jackson.
Michael Jack, and even when Prince passed away later, and
Yes.
Elvis,
Yeah.
come on.
Elvis, same thing, and to listen to Elvis Presley music today is really like you see the talent that he had. My God, it's like that voice is amazing. Really, if you listen to his ballads with the Royal Philharmonic
Hmm.
Orchestra, it's amazing, really amazing.
Well,
And
think
you see
about
the
how
talent.
they tapped each one of them, Sinatra, Michael Jackson, Prince, any of those, Elvis. They tapped into something that the public liked, but maybe we didn't know we liked it until we saw it or heard it.
Yeah, yeah,
Something Elvis with the swivel and the swagger, and Michael Jackson with those great dance moves, and Prince with just out there in another universe, Raspberry Beret, and just there was so, and Sinatra. Listen,
yeah,
our parents' era, girls were swooning way before the Beatles. Girls were just falling in the aisles. It's like, oh my God, he's on stage singing. There
yeah,
was
yeah.
people wanted something they had. Yeah.
And like with the exception of Frank, they were all taken too soon.
Oh,
Prince,
absolutely.
Michael Jackson, and Elvis. They were gone way before their time, and
Yep.
but their music lives on forever, really. And
Yep.
even with today's generation, if you don't know who Elvis Presley is, and many of them don't, it's like shocking to me if they've never heard of Elvis Presley. I'm like, my gosh, that
Yes.
what a talent that was, and
Yep.
through generations. Um,
It's a
so those are a
bedrock.
couple of songs, and the other one that I thought of was Mike and the Mechanics, "The Living Years."
I don't know that one. Do I? What, can you
You
say a
know it
couple
if
of,
you heard it.
tell me a couple of lyrics. Do you know
Um,
off the top?
I wasn't there that morning when my father passed away. I wish I had a chance to tell him all the things I wish to say. Um,
Oh, I have to go hear it. I'll go hear it
you
after
would
the
know the
show.
song "In the Living
Okay.
Years."
Okay.
It was very popular in like late '80s, '90.
Okay. I'll take a
Yeah,
look. I'll take a
Mike
listen,
and the
as they say.
Mechanics is the band,
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
it's just it's a reflection on your life. When you look back and you say, I wish I could have done a few things differently,
Hmm.
and some of those things would have been, and that it's an emotional song. You know, if you
Your
listen to
songs are
the
very
words to
reflective.
it, it
Yep.
really,
Very reflective of who you are
yeah, like
in your,
"Cats in the Cradle."
oh yeah.
That's with Harry Chapin.
Cat in the Cradle and the da da da. Yep,
Yeah,
I remember that.
that's
Yeah.
another song.
Yeah.
When you think about having, and I have a son, thinking about spending the time with them and not being that
Mm-hmm.
involved or engulfed in your own world and
Which
not
we
spending
tend to
that
be.
time.
Yep.
So, those are songs that really come to mind. When I think
Thank you.
of songs that resonate with me through a lifetime,
Very,
those are
very
those are the
cool.
songs that come to mind.
You want to hear a couple of mine?
Sure.
Okay. I have some interesting songs along the way without going into a full life story. I'll give you in a different order than I usually do. Janis Joplin, 1971, me and Bobby McGee. And the line that sticks with me
Mhm.
is, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
Ah.
Think about that. Freedom's
Yeah.
just another word for nothing left to lose. I always butcher it when I sing it. And let's go on a lighter side. Cyndi Lauper, girls just want to have fun. Why not? And then I go to times when I needed to either sit back, or lean forward. Hit Me With Your Best Shot by Pat Benatar.
Hmm.
I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. Respect by Aretha Franklin, Respect, and
Hmm.
New Attitude by Patti LaBelle is one of my best because sometimes you just need to put on a new attitude. That's
Those
how
are
I,
all great songs. Those are
thank
really,
you.
and all were, chart busters, every one of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then recently I realized that Donna Summer, I was a disco dancer. I taught, I did exhibitions of disco. I had a professional partner back in the day. And Donna Summer, she left us too soon. Talk about an icon in that era. She had a discography, which is like a filmography, a list of her songs. And these to me punctuate parts of my life. She works hard for the money.
Hmm.
Hot stuff. I like to say I've never been a streetwalker in San Francisco, James, but people have called me hot stuff for different reasons. On the radio, I started doing radio shows in the late 1990s, and here it is 25 years later. Yeah, I still call this radio, by the way, even though we're streaming video.
Right, right.
No More Tears, which is a duet, I believe, with Barbara Streisand. Enough is enough is enough.
Yeah.
I've had my time. Last Dance, I used to teach dancing and I used to socially dance. And now I dance in the kitchen, but it's okay. I still haven't had my last dance, but last public dance a while ago. I Feel Love, which Donna Summer did with Georgia. I Feel Love. Remember that with that
Yes, I do.
that pounding synthesizer sound from Giorgio Moroder. And then I did a Disco Hawaii contest with my partner Michael, and we danced to the Heaven Knows song from Donna Summer's MacArthur Park Suite. Da, 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 da,
Wow.
da, 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 da. We came in from opposite sides of the floor. We had homemade costumes. I had a black satin skirt that opened at the waist and went to a 360 circle. It just tied in a bow at the waist. Black fishnet stockings, high heels, and a blue hammered silk little top with spaghetti straps. I was about 20 pounds at the time, no, 95 pounds. And he picked me up. We met in the middle, lifted me up over his head, spun me around, James, and then he did the death drop to the floor. And I was 6 inches above the floor and went around a circle, and the skirt spread out. And then we did our dance routine.
That's
Man,
amazing.
what a time. Yeah, I have good memory. I got some still pictures of that, but no videos. That was
That
way,
was a
way
whole
later.
different time, a whole different
Oh,
era, and the music and
yep.
the fashion, and
Yep.
it was just it was it was here and gone, let's say.
That's when I was hot stuff. And one more, let's see, one more with, let me see. I went through the Billboard magazine's top Hot 100 songs from 1978, believe it or not. And that was the disco era. Andy Gibb with Shadow Dancing. I used to teach people to dance to that.
Mm.
The Bee Gees, Night Fever, Staying Alive. How Deep Is Your Love? Debbie Boone, You Light Up My
Oh, I
Life.
remember these songs very
Rolling
well.
Stones, Miss You. I became a drummer years later, and I've drummed to that one. The Tramps, Disco Inferno, Evelyn Champagne King, Shame. I did a dance exhibition to that. Odyssey sang Native New Yorker. A Taste of Honey did Boogie Oogie Oogie, and those are some of my favorite songs from that era. The music was
Wow,
just
wow.
wonderful.
That's
Yeah,
that's definitely taking me back in time for sure.
I hope it's
You
good.
know,
I hope it's good.
yeah, no, it was all good. That was an era with the music that really, you know, uh, just got you out and moving.
Yeah,
It really
that's
was a
right.
different time.
That's right. It really did. Yeah, it was fun to listen to music in those days,
Yeah, yeah.
and you
It's so
could hear
different
the
today.
words. You could hear the words.
Yeah,
Can you imagine? And you didn't have to be embarrassed about saying the words or criticized by singing the songs. It was
right,
they
right.
were they were about real people and cool. The early days of rock and roll. And I used to have a TV show on Long Island called Something to Talk About. And I often had a cappella rock and roll bands come on or bands with their musicians. I've even had a 20-piece uh, swing orchestra come on the show. And I used to say they were doing the work of keeping that music going, James. They were doing the work of so people would know Elvis
Right,
Presley
right.
and would know the Duprees and would know the disco songs and would know the Frank Sinatra music.
Right.
because
And nobody seems to have picked that up. But you know what? You just said something that kind of hit
what?
home with me. I was thinking of Michael Bublé because he's like
Be
a
still my
ballad
heart.
singer, and
Oh,
there are none of those anymore where he actually sings these old style,
yes.
crooning songs where and I'm like, there's no one like that, really. He
No.
really kind of created this whole world
Yep.
that was a world past,
Very,
and
very
he's created
beautifully.
a whole
I
different
enjoy,
audience.
he's got some hit songs, he's got albums, and I haven't heard much about him recently, but you know what? You're right. He's one of my newer favorites.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Let's move ahead. We're going to spend the hour talking about music, but let's go to the part of the show called Off the Top. I sent you some topics. I'm going to pick a couple and we will share our input on the topic. So, first of all,
Sure.
let's start with what is your, first you and then me, what is your creativity superpower? What do you think it is? Do you love it? Do you not so much love it? What's good about it and not so much? James?
I don't know if it's creative, but being dedicated to or committed, I would say those are two qualities or traits that I think have gotten me to where I am and that keep me going. Like especially for running. When I say a marathon, and I'm going to be doing a marathon in a couple months, is that commitment and that dedication to going out there and doing the training and putting in the time that's necessary. I think that's so true of so many other things. Not, it doesn't have to be running. It can be just about anything. If you have that drive or that determination, dedication, commitment, I think they are certainly a superpower in many ways.
I like that. I have a question. What do you think about when you're running in a marathon? Maybe it's a silly question, but I really
Oh
would
my
like to
God.
know. Tell me.
Well, I guess it depends on the marathon, maybe. I
Okay.
don't know. And after 13, and I've done New York 6 times. I've done Philadelphia. I've done Steamtown in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I've done
Oh,
Boston,
oh,
Jersey Shore Marathon. So, and if you ask me about the time in which I ran it, like, I've been doing this over a number of years, obviously. And, it's not like I do this. I try to do one every fall, but it hasn't worked out quite like that,
hmm.
because life gets in the way. So, of the training and all that stuff. But, if you asked me like last year when I was running the DC Marathon, and this is the second year I'm going to be doing that, around mile 25, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this when I was starting to cramp up? And I said, I
Oh,
really don't even know why I'm doing this. It's just
oh,
insane. And,
oh.
and then I literally could not walk. I couldn't even run. I went to stretch out and I went down on the ground and I ended up with, the medical cart picking me up and taking me back to mile 24. And I spent an hour in the tent,
James.
getting electrolytes and salt.
Oh
And then
my.
after about an hour, they said, well, what do you want to do? We can call for your wife to come and pick you up or somebody to come and pick you up, or
Ah,
do you want to finish? And I said, well, I'm at mile 24. That'd be crazy not to finish. I only have to go 2 more miles. It's going to be a much slower run than I've ever done in the past. And they said, well, go ahead. And I said, well, wait a minute. You picked me up at mile 25. Can't you drop me off back at mile 25? They said, no, we don't do that. So I had to walk from 24 to 25 where they picked me up. And then from that point forward, I ran the last mile, point two, and finished in 6 hours.
James,
Yeah.
that
So,
is commitment and dedication.
so that was
Wow.
crazy. So I want to do it this year just I guess, to do better.
Well, your body was telling you that it had reached its limit at that point, but your heart and your spirit were saying,
Keep
I'm going
going.
to go on, keep going.
Got to
I,
finish it.
I was going to talk about my creativity superpower is just talking to people, but you reminded me of a way back story. Years and years ago, when I was living in Eugene, Oregon, and I had my professional dance partner, we decided, or rather, I decided and talked him into doing the Jerry Lewis telethon. I guess it was around Labor Day, a
March of Dimes.
a
Right.
dance-a-thon,
Okay.
26 hours, James, in a
Mm.
high school gymnasium with no windows, James,
Wow.
with about 50 other people, James, and we were in our late 20s and everybody else was in their late teens. We were the oldest ones. I had somebody I was dating or worked with at the time, I don't remember, stayed with my kids. This was an overnight thing. We went into this gymnasium. It was huge. We had our comfortable dance shoes on and we danced and we danced and we danced. And they gave us a break every couple hours for 15 minutes. And they fed us things like donuts and sugar cookies and all of that. I guess that's what marathon dancers do. And we formed impromptu circles and people went in the middle, but we all had to keep moving. You couldn't stop dancing.
Wow.
And we had to get sponsors and raise money. That's why we were doing it for muscular dystrophy. And I remember there were times when we just wanted to say, let me out of here. The light was, it was lighted, electrically lighted, but there was a world outside and we were separated from it. When we finally finished, it was a nice sunny day and we went outside and it was like waking up and finding out that your muscles had been eating themselves. It was hard to walk.
That's amazing. So I have 2 points. One is if you probably added up those steps, you probably did a couple of marathons. That's number one.
Okay.
And you said Eugene, Oregon, which made me think of Steve Prefontaine, who was
Yes,
a
Prefontaine
unbelievable
Trail was
runner
there.
who
Yes,
was killed in a car accident.
University of Oregon named the trail
Yeah, and
after the Prefontaine Trail. Go ahead.
right,
Yeah,
and he ran the Olympics. It was
yeah,
amazing.
yep.
He was
So
an
that's where
amazing
it
runner,
was.
and that's what made me think of that. So I went
Well,
back to running.
we collected the money from our
That's
sponsors
amazing, though.
and we won some cash, which annoyed me because I didn't think we should be winning cash when we were raising money. And I donated, Michael was my dance partner, and he was a professional, shall we say, caretaker, a janitor at the University of Oregon. He took care of the architecture studio where we did a lot of our dance, our exhibition practices. We did our rehearsals there when nobody was there. Concrete floor, not great for dancing, but Michael wanted to go and get more education at the local community college. So I gave him my winnings toward his tuition so he
That's
could
very
go back
nice.
and get, well, it seemed like the right thing to do. I was already working. I was a computer programmer. I had 2 kids. I was okay financially. I wasn't hurting. And I decided to. So we made enough money. I think we won some kind of a prize. And it was quite, but that's the only thing I can think of that I did on a par with one of your 14
Oh,
marathons.
I
So
think that's definitely on par because like I said, if you add up those steps, it's probably easily a couple of marathons.
I think we should get some applause for both of us. Let me see if I have an applause track here. Here we go. That's for both of us. Okay. I
Well,
added sound
thank
effects
you very
recently.
much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, there we go. All right, good. I have a bunch of those. Okay, now let's go to I have something else. The start of the day. Food
Hmm.
or drink? Something has to power you, James. You are a high energy person. You have a lot going on. You're an author. You're a semi-retired attorney. You're of counsel. You are a marathon runner. You're a family person. I know you cook. And by the way, when I met you at the Publicity Summit and I invited you on my Read My Lips show, Cool Conversations, I asked you for some cool things about you, your creativity, and you said you didn't have any. I think I had to drag it out of you that you were a marathon runner,
I
that
do
you love
remember.
to cook, that you love to travel. And that's why you're here, because you gave me the privilege of pulling out of you all your coolness. So thank you.
It wasn't a privilege. It was hard work.
I had to keep sending you lists. It was like Mad Libs, fill in the
Yes.
blank. What do you do when you're not an attorney, when you're not writing, when you're not on TV, when you're not in a court? And little by little, you sent me this list, and I said, "There's a person in there."
Yeah.
I'm appreciating you. I'm not teasing you, but I'm
No,
appreciating.
no, that's fine.
So you're one of the hardest cases, the hardest nuts to crack, but we did. So how do you start your day? Coffee or breakfast or milkshake
Well,
or
I'm going to
eggs?
give a plug to the Perfect Aminos. That's the drink I start my day with. It's Perfect Aminos.
What is
They're
it?
amino acids, and they don't break a fast. And you mix it into water and you drink it, and it actually is very satisfying. And that gets me through the first couple of hours of my morning, working out or doing whatever I'm doing. And it's a great thing. It comes in all different flavors. You can get them in pills, but I use the powder form that you can mix into water, and that's how I start my day. And then eventually I have a shake and a cup of coffee, but that's not until a couple hours later.
What's your favorite flavor of the aminos?
Right now I'm on vanilla. That's probably there's a lemon lime, there's a raspberry, There's a mocha, but I think the vanilla is easy to swallow and easy to go down. Some of
Okay.
them are a little bit tougher in the
Th-
morning.
Thank you very much. I have a banana milkshake, which is 6 to 8 ounces of 1% milk in an individual Hamilton Beach pulse blender
There
that
you
takes
go.
only about 12 ounces. And I put in a couple of slices of frozen unsweetened strawberries and a squirt of raw agave syrup, which looks a little bit like maple syrup, but it's not that thick
Know
and
exactly
sweet.
what it is. Yeah.
Yes, and I buy it. And by the way, when you're done with those clear plastic containers, they're squeezable. They're tall. They're about this big, and I clean them out and put water in them. And I use them to water the plants on my windowsill because you can squirt instead of a watering can where you're pouring. You can just squirt this, hold it over the plants, and squirt it. Get a little bit of water, so you're not soaking the plants and you're not getting water all over the floor. So I use those anyway. I've got a lot of them because I use a lot of agave. And sometimes, if I'm really a bad girl, I'll put a little bit of vanilla ice cream in my milkshake and a whole banana. I buy 9 bananas a week, and I have to be careful, James, to not buy them already too ripe because I don't like the mushy gushy ones at the end of the week.
I'm
And
with you on that.
I won't buy bruised bananas. I can spend 10 minutes just at the banana part of the produce department in my supermarket examining the bananas.
Well, my 98-year-old mother refuses to throw out bananas, and they can be in the worst possible form when I go to her house to visit with her, and I say, "Mom, what are you doing with these bananas? They're like they're 3 days past the garbage." And she says, "I'm going to make banana bread." And if you open up her freezer, she probably has about 20 banana breads that she
Oh my
has
God.
ready and available to bring to wherever she goes.
Well, bravo to Mama. By the way, I recently had a banana that was so I buy 9 and hopefully they'll last a week till I go to the supermarket the next week. And I get a couple that are more on the green side, but not like plantain green that are, going to stay concrete. But I had a banana that was a little on the mushy side, and I was going to make some, what was it, orange cranberry muffins with a Krusteaz package mix. And I decided to mash the banana in with the batter. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Mm.
It just makes it a little bit softer. It gives it a different, almost a spongy texture. So that's how that banana went. Okay, let's go on here. Now, let's see. Let's try something else. I have a big question for you or for us, but not yet. Something you lost, broke, sold, gave away, or just can't find that you wish you still had. A thing, not a
Mm.
person, a thing. Anything that you can think of that
This
you
is going
just
to sound so materialistic,
why not?
but um, I recently got rid of a car that I truly loved,
Uh-huh.
um,
What was
and
it?
it
Tell
was
us.
a 2019 Mercedes AMG G53. It was you don't see many of them on the road, and I love the car, but it was too much of a sports car, and I realized I needed to get more because we couldn't really put passengers in it. The back seat really wasn't a back seat, and so I ended up selling that to
Hmm.
get my current vehicle, and I always missed it because when you stepped on the gas, you really went, and that's not something I should be saying out loud, but it was a very
You
nice
did.
car, very comfortable car,
Just
and
our secret.
yeah, it was just a great car. I really enjoyed it, and I kind of missed parting with it, and I felt that way when it left me that day, and I still feel that way now. So I
I
don't know, maybe that's one of
That's a
many
good
things, but
story.
that's something that comes to
Yeah.
mind.
I have a car story too, but mine ended up doing a 180-degree turn across 3 lanes of traffic at 85 miles an hour on a rainy highway in Durham, North Carolina, and landing against the median strip. And I survived, which is a miracle because I
Well,
should not
that's
be
the
here.
good part of the story.
I should not be here today. There's no,
Well, thank God.
without a scratch. The car, just the rear end was totaled. It was sitting on the median, the metal divider there. It was very, very strange. But that was my fifth Nissan Z, and I think that was my 370. And most of them were white. I started out with a silver one with the blue stripe on the side, very classic, 1979. It was called a Datsun back in the
Oh,
day,
yes, I
and
remember
I had
well.
5 of those over the years. And the funny thing is that, and I cried when I had to give this up. The insurance said, let it go. It's the rear end was just in bad shape. We don't want to fix it for you. So I found, after looking for another Z, a Z4 called my name at a used car place, and it was a BMW Z4, black, convertible, automatic, no smoker, one driver, low mileage, and I bought it that day. So that's what's in my garage. But
That's great.
somehow the universe knew I needed a Z, but it gave me the wrong one. But it's okay. I don't drive much anymore, so it's absolutely fine. But I got to tell you, I love those Zs because over the years it was so funny. No matter which one I was driving, men and boys wanted to buy the car from me. James, I
That
could
was a
be
classic.
they were all along the 350, the 370, the 280, the I don't know how many I had, 260, and I think I most of them were two seaters. A couple of them were the 2+2s. Some of them had seats in the back. One of my mother's friends got stuck in the back of my car once. We had to have three people help pull her out. It was very awkward. It was at synagogue on the high holidays. We had to get three men to help Gertrude get out of the back seat. But anyway, it was always so funny. I could be driving into Manhattan. I was on Long Island in Great Neck. You know where that is, and I was waiting on a line to go through the toll bridge to the Midtown Tunnel, and somebody in the next lane would put their window down and say, "Hey, lady, you want to sell your car?"
That's crazy.
They were beautiful. They were really beautiful
They
cars.
were great cars.
Yeah, they were. So let's see now. Wait a minute. Hold on. I think we have an interruption here. Let's see if we can. Let me get this going here. Let's see if we can continue the show. Wait a minute. Nope. Wait, hold on. Wrong one. Wrong one. Wrong. Here we go. I can't seem to get this. Hold on. It's going to work. Okay. Hold on. All right. Stop. Okay. Hello. Who is this? I'm doing a live show. Yeah, it's a little confusing right now. This is Steven Spielberg? Wait a minute. Quentin Tarantino? Martin Scorsese? You want to talk to me about James P., who's on my show? You're watching? Are you on LinkedIn? No, I see you on YouTube. Thank you very much. Okay, wait a minute. Aaron Sorkin is there? Clint Eastwood? Okay, let's just calm down a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. What do you want to talk to James about? You want to make a movie or a TV show, his choice, that has a lead character based on James, but it's not his biopic. It's not an autobiographical film. Okay, you want to know, does he want an action movie or TV show, a drama, a fantasy, a musical, a romance, a comedy, a sci-fi, a thriller, time travel, or any combination of those? You want him to pick the genre, the director, whether it's movie or TV, could be a limited series on TV. They're like a long movie. And you want him to pick the actor to play the lead character based on who he is. And you're going to design a lead character based on James's interesting life. Okay, you know what? We're really live streaming now. I really can't talk much longer. James is being very patient, but it looks like he's interested. So I'm going to hang up now and just text me where you are and I'll get back to you and we'll see who he picks. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay, bye. 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 Appreciate you. Bye. Okay, James, what can I tell you? They seem to interrupt my show from time to time, and there's nothing I could do about it. So you are in demand.
That's
They
an
want,
important interruption.
I know, they want to make, they want you to pick the director, the actor, the title, the genre. So would you be interested in having a lead character modeled after you for a movie or a TV show? What you want to
Sure.
be? Action, romance, drama, sci-fi? What would you like? And what would we call it? So, James, up to you. What do you think? I got to let him
Wow.
know. I have to let him
Wow.
know. Yeah, I know.
That's really a good one.
I know.
My book title is Unequal Justice, and that probably is a good good
Whoa.
title for a movie, really.
Yes. Yes.
And I could certainly see someone like Tom Cruise filling that role as the lead attorney, as the defense attorney and former prosecutor. I could see that for sure. And I can see that because of his background in film and, some of the roles he's played over the years. So I do think that would be a really interesting story about the injustices in the criminal justice system and how
Okay.
people can be treated very
Would it
differently
be
and
a drama? They're
unfairly.
not doing a documentary. Would it have to be a
Hmm.
drama or sci-fi
It
or
would have to be a
romance?
drama, and it
A
would have
drama.
to be nonfiction, of course, or fiction. Actually,
They would like to make it fiction. They
fiction would be
would.
about just following a story that certainly they could use a story that's been in the news and certainly modify it to a large extent and find something that resonates in that story about the injustices in the system and how the
What
lives that
about
are
a
affected.
superhero attorney in a sci-fi drama? What do you think of?
Wow.
Could you
That
see? What do you think?
I don't know of any attorneys that are superheroes, but certainly we have that. Um,
You could use the boost.
maybe some of the clients that we've represented over the years might feel that way about us for
There
based on
you
the
go.
results that we accomplish for
There
them,
you go.
that we are some kind of a superhero, or I don't want to say a god because that's certainly
No,
not,
no.
but
So, would
superhero,
it?
yeah, I could see that. It would be a stretch, but I could see it,
That's
sure.
okay. I think that'd be cool. I think Tom Cruise would. It's time for him to play a superhero if he
Well, he
hasn't done that
certainly, I
already.
mean, given his role in Mission Impossible and
Yes.
the stunts that he does, it's pretty amazing.
So, what about if the lead character in Unequal Justice is a building jumper in addition to a marathon runner, right? And based on your history, and he cooks, okay? And he grew up living with his grandparents with a big family. And what if he takes all of that and he has recollections of being in the media as a legal expert? What about something like that? And he's still a superhero. What do you think? Would you like a character like that?
I just got to know that he's going to be able to perform or she's going to be able to perform in a courtroom. That's where it's most
It's
important.
Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise. He will be just fine. Of course, we could do it like my cousin Vinny. It could be something like that.
Could
But
be
that
something like that. That could be that would be a comedy though.
that would be a comedy. So it'd be a feature film. Okay. All right. Now mine would be a sitcom, 8 editions, 30 minutes, starring either Bonnie Raitt, the redhead guitar player singer, or Reba McEntire. And it would be a musical comedy patterned on Reba McEntire's new show, Happy's Place, which is based on her character's father passed away and left his bar and restaurant to her. And she didn't know Papa was fooling around, and Papa was a Rolling Stone, and there's another child in the family nobody knew
Ah,
about who has an MBA in psychology and shows up out of the blue and has to be acknowledged as her sister, who she never
interesting.
met before. And it's really funny, and Reba sings the opening song, and it's got some really cool characters, and the writing is very tight. After you get through the first 1 or 2 episodes, it actually is very, very fun show.
That's
Some
great. She's a
really
talent for sure.
yeah, absolutely. So that would be mine would be it would be called one of the Donna Summer hits. It would be called something like She Works Hard for the Money or Hot Stuff, something like that. And it would be more based on my life and it would be similar. It might be take place in a dance studio. I know there've been a lot of movies about dance studios, but the lead character could be played by Reba with a cast of characters of people playing dance teachers. And
I
then
like it.
yeah, I do too. So it would be called Hot Stuff. I think that's what it'd be called. Or
I'd
Watch Your
watch it.
Step. Maybe Watch Your Step. What do you think?
Watch your step.
Watch Your Step. So those would be our movies. I'll go to see yours if you'll go to see mine.
I
Okay.
certainly would.
Okay, you're a real gentleman. I'm going to get rid of the audio share here now and let's go to the part of the show where we're going to talk about our wacky stories. And before I let you join me on this part of the show, James, it's very important that you say the title of the segment with me. It's Say What? Can you say that?
Say what?
Not bad. And we didn't even practice. Okay, great smile. Boy, are you cracking up. Okay, I got to take a picture right now. Hold on, let me get a picture. Let's get that cracking up smile. There we are. Ah, say what? Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so why don't you go first? You want to do all three of your stories, and then I'll do all three of mine because I'm going to show mine on the share on the screen. So why don't you go
Sure,
ahead?
sure.
Go
I'll
ahead.
talk about them,
Yeah.
and I kind of gave you a little bit of a heads up on these already.
Yeah, I'm going to put you
Um,
on speaker view so we can see just you on the screen. And if you want to hold up your phone with pictures, that's fine. So
yeah,
go
I'll
ahead.
see if I can find some one image I do want to
Okay,
share,
you're
and
on.
I'll make sure I have it available so that I can. Okay, I have it. So three stories I came up with were interesting stories that are they were surprising to me. And the first one was that cheese is the most stolen thing of everything that you can imagine, which I found shocking why people would steal cheese. And that was recently reported, I believe, in the New York Post. And that was based on some research that was done that they had determined that people were stealing cheese and especially certain vintage cheeses that I don't know if these people must have some kind of knowledge or background in the cheese world because they were stealing expensive cheeses. I don't know what the value of the cheese is beyond eating it. So that I was very surprised to learn. I didn't know anything about. I couldn't imagine somebody stealing cheese. Um, so that was one. The second one, which I was kind of fascinated with, and this is also reported, I believe it was in the New York Times as well as the New York Post. New York, Manhattan primarily, has had an onslaught of bees taking over. And they've had, like, almost in the form of a tornado, they've had several sightings where these bees land and just infest and take over like certain parts of the park, like Central Park. They've had some issues there. And they're saying it's just a rash. It's based on the way the wind is blowing and the heat and the temperature. I had never heard of anything like this. It was pretty bizarre to hear about this. And obviously, it's pretty frightening to imagine a multitude of bees coming in that fashion.
Wow. I just got let me give you one more sound effect here. There we go. That was a little bit I don't think you could hear it. Okay, go ahead. I'm not sharing the audio anymore. Go ahead, James.
That's okay. And then the last one, which I don't know if this is a fascinating story, interesting story, but I thought it was because in the Philippines, they've built this arcade with a claw. Now, I think all of our listeners will remember as a kid, going to an arcade and you put the coins into the machine and it has a claw that comes down and grabs, some little thing,
Stuffed
whether it's
animal or
stuffed
a
animal or Super
ring with
Bowl or something like
yeah.
that,
Yep.
something silly, and you'd
Hmm.
always end up spending a lot more money than the item you ever got, if
Yes.
you were successful. But in the Philippines, they developed one to marvel or match the largest claw in history. And I forget what the name of it is. I think it's called Claw Daddy or something crazy. And
Claw
it's in the
King.
Philippines.
Claw King, I think it was.
Claw King. Claw
Claw
King.
King.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes.
That's James, that's a new verb. Clawking.
Claw King. I like it.
Do you have a picture of that on your phone? You were going to
I
share
have
one.
an actual, I have the picture of a claw. I don't
Hold
know
on,
if
let
you
me
can,
put you back on speaker view. Let me see if we can. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
that's what people will visualize.
Yeah.
But this one is um, 17 feet across,
What?
12 feet high,
What?
and 8.5 feet wide.
What?
So if you can imagine the size of that, and I was really interested to find out, like, what kind of prize do you get in a machine like that, and how much money do you have to put into it, because you can't just put like a quarter into it.
I don't think
And
so.
I couldn't find that out, but I did see a picture of it where they were giving like huge stuffed animals. So I don't know how that claw works. I don't know if it's anything like the claws in the ones that when we were kids, you never got anything because they never
Claw
seemed
King.
to grab.
Claw King.
So I thought that was a fascinating story, and it beat the record of Santa Claus, which was done in Florida.
Yeah.
That was the one that held the world record as the largest claw machine. And this one in the Philippines outdid that. And apparently, the guy that developed it, and I don't have his name off the top of my head, I believe it's BAGU, has over 12 million followers, the guy that designed the machine. So that was pretty interesting too. I didn't think that was that fascinating that somebody would be have 12 million followers. But it goes back to the point you made earlier.
Yeah. James, the world is looking for new and fresh and interesting and fun and distraction and diversion and amusement.
Well,
And
there's amusement, that's for sure.
there you go. And a couple of good PR posts on TikTok and on other social sites. And
And there you
people,
go.
there you go. Well, thank you. Now you have to say it one more time. Say what? Go ahead.
Say what?
You're one of the best. I can't believe. Well, I'm going to give you three say what stories now. I'm going to share my screen
Okay.
here and let's go. And here we go. So the first one, I think you can see it now, is Ben and Jerry's is churning ice cream waste into energy. I thought that was appropriate for where we are. And you can see this creamery here. In case you need another reason to love your favorite pint of Ben and Jerry's, the author of this is saying half baked. The Sweet Treat Company is partnering with Purpose Energy to recycle its food waste into renewable energy. At a facility in St. Albans, Vermont, leftover ice cream and other ingredients go into an anaerobic digester. James, that almost it sounds scary. Where microbes digest the waste and generate methane gas, which is
Mm,
captured and converted into an energy source. It powers the facility. They are powering the facility with this
amazing.
and contributing an estimated 8.75 million kilowatt hours to the grid in Vermont a year. 8.75 million. I don't know what the number was supposed to be, but that sounds like a lot to me.
That
It
sounds like a
diverts
lot.
doesn't it? It diverts leftovers from landfills, lowering phosphorus pollution and centralizing food waste management. It's a win for the planet, and they say it's a model of industrial symbiosis. I bet you haven't heard that word since school, neither have I.
No, not since science classes
I
back in
know. Seventh
chemistry or biology.
seventh grade, yes, symbiosis. Food production waste turns into clean energy, reduces emissions, and supports the local economies. I thought
That's
that was
amazing.
pretty cool. So there. So your Ben and Jerry's, if they have I don't know why they would have leftover ice cream. That's the question it doesn't answer. Who would ever have leftover ice cream? I'd just
Yeah.
leave it.
How does that happen?
I don't know. And have you been to the Sphere in Las Vegas? Have you been there?
I have not, but I plan to.
Well,
I believe
okay.
Zach Brown is going to be doing some concerts there for the next several months.
Well, not only Zach Brown, but as of August 28th, they will be showing The Wizard of Oz, the
Wow.
original movie, and it's going to be shown on the Sphere's 160,000 square foot wraparound LED screen. Sphere Entertainment CEO James Dolan said a 2,000 person team is creating a new experience using AI to increase the resolution of the existing film. This goes back to 1939 and expand the footage beyond the frame. That's what's interesting. They say a grainy close up of Dorothy becomes richly detailed, and through a process called outpainting, seems like magic, we see the scarecrow, yellow brick road, and the mountains of Oz. Expanding the frame means creating new performances from existing actors. That's the part that might upset some people. Uh,
Mm,
but they said, James Dolan speaks the truth. Our standard was not to modify the film, but to try and bring you into the film as though you were in the studio when it was shot.
that's
Interesting?
amazing.
I
That's
think
truly
so
amazing.
too.
And that's a
I
classic. I, I,
it
I can't tell you how many times I've seen The Wizard of
I
Oz.
know it could be interesting. And my third one, I thought you would appreciate that. The world's largest time capsule was cracked open in Nebraska. It was 50 years after the fact. This is nice news from July 8th, so just a couple weeks ago, James. This was in Seward County. In
Huh.
1975, get this, 45-ton treasure trove dubbed the world's largest time capsule
I
was
was trying to
sealed.
figure out the car in there and I just see it
I'll
in the article.
It's a Chevy Vega. There you
Chevy
go.
Vega.
In a small town in Nebraska, it was the year the Vietnam War ended. Microsoft was founded. What a year.
Wow.
And the movie Jaws was released. 1975. Wasn't Back to the Future released that year too? I know Jaws just celebrated its 50th.
I
Anyway,
think Back to the Future was a couple of years after that.
okay. Fast forward 5 decades, and the artifacts are unveiled. Last Friday, which would have been the first week in July, hundreds of people came to see it. This is a culmination of 50 years of planning on the part of my father, said Trish Davison Johnson, whose father spearheaded the project to give his grandchildren a glimpse of another era. That's some grandfather, 50,
Yeah.
45 tons for his grandchildren. Of the thousands of items, they included handwritten letters, a wedding invitation, voice recordings, but James are probably on little cassettes, a yellow
Mm.
Chevy Vega, and a teal suit. I don't see the teal suit in there, but I see some other stuff. It took 3 days to crack it open. The majority did very well of the artifacts included, and her father put a ventilation system in to keep the moisture out.
Wow. Wow.
Is that something? Chris
That's
Galen,
crazy.
Man named Chris traveled from Virginia to retrieve a letter from his late mother. I hope as she's looking down from somewhere, I can report back to her a lot of the things she wanted from me and my brother came true. Interesting. Beyond a peak of life from a half century ago, the time capsule offers a special opportunity for people to reflect on both their past and present selves. It's not about what inside it, it's about what's inside of us. Oh, this is getting very, very emotional. And who we were back in 75 and who we are today. What do you think of that?
Wow.
Pretty cool?
Wow.
Can you imagine who this man was that 50 years ago he created a 45-ton time capsule?
Truly
How
amazing. Truly
they don't
amazing.
say
And
what he did. James, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, to put a car in there, right? Can you even imagine to
How
put a
did he
car
get
in
it in
there?
there? How did he? I know.
It's amazing. And a ventilation system to keep the moisture out. And
He must have been an engineer and he must have had money. Come on. He had to have
yeah,
had
yeah.
money.
I mean, where the heck was this? My goodness.
It was in Nebraska, for goodness sake, a small town, Seward County in Nebraska. My goodness gracious. And what's interesting was, how did he get the permits for this?
Right,
How do you
right.
get permit to dig a trough, a trench that deep in a backyard, line it with concrete, fill it with a car, lift the car into it, put all the other stuff, build a ventilation system, and if you look, it's very clean around the top of the capsule, if you can see it. There's
Yeah, yeah.
no destruction there whatsoever. It
Amazing. And
oh,
actually, that car looks like you could take the plastic off of it and
doesn't
jump
it?
into it and drive it off.
Doesn't. And look, there's something from a Boy Scout or Girl Scout troop, Troop 256, Boy Scouts, is
Hmm.
printed on the back. So they had kids writing on the sides of this capsule once the concrete was built.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. And I
Very
see some
thoughtful. Wow.
tools here
That's
on the bottom. Look at the tools. Can you see the tools here where my mouse is? Almost looks like a I don't know what, almost like a I don't know, something with a rod, a fishing rod or a
something. Yeah.
golf club or something.
Golf club, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm going to stop
Amazing.
sharing that.
That's what you call a
Yeah.
history lesson.
And I'll say it. Say what?
Say
So we
what?
have Claw King and we have a 45-ton time capsule and we've got swarms of bees and we've got all kinds of interesting things. James, I have a question for you before we wrap this up. First of
Sure.
all, thank you so much for letting
Thank
me
you.
letting
It was a
me
lot of
lead you
fun.
into cool dude land here. Now, question for you is let's say a young man in your family or not, somebody else's family comes to you and says, James Porfido, Mr. James Esquire, I saw you on Bonnie D's show, and I think you're really, really cool. What advice would you give to this person, this young person, so that they could be a cool dude in their own right one day? What do you say,
Wow.
James? What do you
Wow.
say? That's heavy, right? That's heavy.
That is heavy. So, I think enjoy the moment. Really, don't let life pass you by. And the moment you're in is the moment you have to enjoy because they go so fast. And I can honestly tell you, it's like you blink your eyes and years go by. And I know everybody said that in my lifetime. I've heard that, but then when you start to see loved ones going and you realize that yeah, time is precious and you really need to enjoy the time you have and enjoy the moments that you have because you're not going to have those moments again. So it really is about appreciating the people and the things around you and the
Mm,
the, the times that you have, the events. And they don't have to be big events. They can just be simply going to the store, going for a walk. I mean, they can be very simple. They don't have to be elaborate. The trips, if you're fortunate enough or blessed enough to have the ability to travel and go to different places to enjoy those opportunities and see those sites and take them in, and
mm.
reflect upon them. I mean, and maybe that's a little bit of being nostalgic. I think maybe as you get older, you see things a little bit differently, but definitely enjoying each moment that comes your way for sure.
That's cool. And also, you mentioned opportunities. I like to say if you see a little light coming in through the window, push the window open and see what's on the other side. If you see the door is open a little, kick the damn door in and see. You might be an attorney who didn't have a chance to be on TV or to be a commentator, or you might not know that you would love to run in marathons, or you might not realize that your grandmother had some great recipes that you would like to cook for your family, or you might not know that you might have a favorite car that maybe one day you'd like to drive it and tell your kids about it or your grandkids
Sure.
about it.
Sure.
Find welcome the opportunities. To me, that's part of being a saucy dame is let the opportunities in and grab them. Don't be afraid.
That's
Don't be
right.
afraid.
For sure.
Change can be our friend. James Porfido. Sir, it's been lovely talking to you. I'm going
Oh,
to
it's
put the
been great.
outro. Thank you. Don't go away. We'll take some pictures after. Let me play the closing music here, and here we go.
So you wanna be
So you want to be
a
a cool kid. He is. He's a cool kid.
hanging with the inset.
Hanging with the inset. I'm the inset. You're the cool kid. Looking real. Cool and fine. Here we go. My drums are in the other room, James. Here we go. Bop, 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 bop. And we're going to go out. So wait.